Welcome back. Now, the federal government has promised to pay the outstanding pension arrears as it released only about 25% of the total amount budgeted for 2024. Now, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, made the commitment when retirees from Nigeria's Contributory pension scheme staged a protest at the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja on Tuesday. Addressing the crowd, Edun disclosed that of the 88 billion naira budgeted for pension arrears in 2024, 22 billion naira had already been disbursed. The retirees, angered by the delay in the payment of their pension arrears, blocked the main entrance of the ministry secretariat, demanding an audience with the minister. He assured the retirees that the remaining funds would be paid by the end of year, with disbursements set to commence next week. Now, joining us on the news to discuss this is a public affairs analyst, Alester Wilcox. Hello, Alester. Thank you for joining us at this time.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure. Good afternoon.
The pleasure is ours. Now, can you tell us, how can the federal government ensure accountability, especially in the timely disbursement of pension arrears, to avoid similar issues in future?
The truth of the matter is, one would be very surprised as to why pensioners are receiving on the wrong end of the stick with this present government. I tell you for free, pensioners have not, since the advent of this government, pensioners have not had it good, and it's quite sad and unfortunate. Unlike what happened in the last government of Muhammadu Buhari, who took pensioners' cases as very, very personal to him, and he ensures that pensioners' entitlements are met, in fact, as at when due. So one would be wondering as to what is the focal point of this administration. We have a lot of, we have lifted so many encumbrances on our public finance. Oil subsidy is no more being paid. The naira has been deregulated, and so there's a lot of cash into the economy right now, into government. So I don't understand the allocations that will make it impossible for pensioners who are senior citizens that have given it their best not to get their fair share. I do not understand. I mean, I cannot find any nexus to understand how pensioners are being treated with this kind of levity. And for whatever Wale Edun is saying,
they're being treated, you know, connecting it with the recent protests and, you know, the government's response, you know, how does it affect the public trust in the administration's ability to manage pension funds and also economic issues? Because you did say that the previous administration, you know, took what the pensioners were going through to heart.
The truth of the matter is this. Now, those protesting are those that are in the defined pension scheme, and the contributing pension scheme, for which government was supposed to make certain amount of contribution on their behalf to their various PFAs, which government has not been doing. In time past, the previous government was trying as much as they can to be up to date. But I think since this government came in, they have not been at par with that responsibility. That is for those who are in the contributing pension scheme. Now, those who are in the non-contributing pension scheme, who are already in the scheme, I think they're also having a very wrong deal. Do you know that pensioners are still earning 20,000, 16,000 till today? Pensioners are earning 20,000, 15,000 till today. And you begin to ask yourself, even when minimum wage has been increased to 70,000 naira, in time past, the when minimum wage increased, pensioners' income will also increase. But even when the president gave an award in December, in January, last year, that pensioners should be paid additional 25,000 naira. They were not paid. A lot of pensioners were not paid. Very few were paid. That same 25,000 was not paid. Now there is a new minimum wage, and the consequential adjustment that should affect pensioners are not there. So the government, and which is what the previous government takes seriously, the issue of pensioners. But I do not understand why this government do not see the issue of pensioners as part of their responsibility. So public trust is very, very low. For those who are in the contribution scheme, theirs is different because their PFAs will always meet their needs, so long as they have the funds. But those that are already in the scheme that is not the contributing scheme with the government funds, that is why there's a problem. Because the government I don't think this government sees pensioners as part of their responsibility. I do not think so. And if you see the fact that the finance minister is a senior citizen, is not a young man by any standard, he's a senior citizen. The president is not a young man by any standard. They are all senior citizens. So they should be able to understand the plight of senior citizens. Because those who are in the employment, yeah, they have a regular income. Now that we've increased minimum wage, it will affect them. So what of pensioners that are earning some 20,000 naira per month? These are what pensioners are going through in Nigeria. And this government does not think to, I don't think this government has, ever noticed it, talk less of looking for a way to address it. And for all intents and purposes, I don't think the government is broke at this point, because most of the things that we said is consuming funds, fuel subsidy, defending the naira, all those things are gone. So what is happening to all the humongous resources now available to government? Tax are increasing per day everywhere. Tax are being paid. Tax are increasing. We're having tax issues every corner. So why wouldn't pensioners also have a fair deal in this new Nigeria?
All right, Alexander. Now you just talked about how the increase in minimum wage would affect the pensioners. Now, can you please go ahead and expatiate on that, on the effects or the implications, of this consequential adjustments in pensions due to the National Minimum Wage Act for retirees and also the government's budget?
Yes, in most instances, when there is a new minimum wage, the government gives an award, maybe an increase in percentage to all pensioners. But in view of the fact that when you give an increase or maybe a percentage increase, it widens the gap between the lowest paid pensioners and the highest paid pensioners. So now what the government do in the last administration was to do what they call consequential adjustment, using the civil service consequential adjustment rate to apply to those to pensioners, so that those in the lower run get something better than those in the higher echelon of their pension payment. But that has not come to bear, because people have been approaching PDAT, which is the government agency that is managing the pension of federal government workers, and they said, and they never give you any clear indication to that respect. They never give any clear indication to that respect. And that is why pensioners are still earning such ridiculous amount of money that they have been earning. Now, look, when minimum wage is increased, even NYSC workers, NYSC members, they increase their minimum wage, they increase their own allowance. Now NYSC will be earning at least 77,000 or thereabout. So we are told, even though we've not seen it implemented. So what happened to retirees, to pensioners who are earning 40,000, 30,000, who are still earning 30,000 up to today? So what happened to them? And the cost of living is not smiling on their faces. And the government does not seem to, there's no clear indication or direction as to what the government wants to do to bring about some level of responsible increment in the pension payment, so that they too will be part and parcel of the new Nigerian dream. So you cannot make an NYC a youth corper to be earning 77,000 naira a month, while a pensioner who has put in a lot of time and energy in this country, who is old, who is sick, who may not have children to take care of them, is earning 20,000 naira or 15,000 naira. How does that jive? So there must be some. Those in government must look at this thing holistically. And like I said, Wale Edun is not a young man, so he's a senior citizen, and so he should understand what people in his class should be facing. And then the president is not a young man; they are all senior citizens, so they should be able to understand. Maybe because of the age of former President Buhari, he took pensioners' issues seriously. And in fact, I don't think any president in this continent, any leader, has taken up pensioners' issues like Muhammadu Buhari. And any pensioner who is not grateful to Muhammadu Buhari, must be a very terrible hypocrite. Because first, he brought back some of all the people that were removed from pension through privatization, brought them back to pension. Brought back a lot of people, Niger workers, Nigerian Airways, people, even up to Biafran soldiers. They were all brought back to pension scheme, because he believed that those who have worked deserve a fruit. Deserve a compensation for the work they put in. But I've not seen that in this administration. I do not know if this administration do not have that focal point, or do not understand, or do not think it's part of their responsibility to also make sure that senior citizens also have a fair share in the new Nigeria that we are all craving to have.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lester, for your time and also for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. That was my pleasure. May God bless Nigeria.